Good morning and welcome to Forex In Four. Today is Wednesday, August 24th, 2011. We're starting out the morning taking a quick look at gold on the 30-minute chart and the wild ride it's had. And actually, let's go back a little bit here to the 2-hour chart and take a look. But yesterday, gold hit a record high here, just over 1900. I think it was 1913.50 was the official high on the futures markets. Now we're looking at the CFD here. Okay, but you can see that it then proceeded to sell off. All right, and we broke through the daily pivot, which looks like it's acting as a little bit of resistance right now. We've got a stochastic looking lower, so it's possible that we could see a little bit more selling in gold today, which is already lower. So, it's just kind of a crazy movement there. But I just want to, let people know that, you're going to see times when, gold can pull back. I mean, we know about the meteoric rise it's been on here. I mean, look at all summer. Look at these moves in gold that we've seen. I mean, this is practically, this is a 25% return right there. So, just because the trend is higher doesn't mean this is going to continue forever, and that's something that people need to pay attention to. So, the markets this morning are a little bit mixed and a little bit of weird action going on. I just want to take a quick peek at the euro. Let's drop it down and be a little bit more granular here, and we can look at this on the 30-minute chart. But essentially what's going on is that overnight in Asia, we had Asian equities were much lower. Okay, and then we have European equities, which are much, or I wouldn't say much, but they're higher. Okay, and then we have U.S. equity futures, which are also lower. So just kind of a mixed bag going on out there. And we're looking at the euro, and you can see that the euro's sort of been trading just between a tight range here in a 30-minute chart between that R1 resistance level up at 145, okay, and the S1 pivot support level down at about 143.60. All right, so you can see that we've sort of been in this range here for the last 2 days. And overnight in Europe, the German IFO business confidence figures came out. Now, we had the consumer confidence figures yesterday with the ZEW, today's IFO business climate numbers, and they all came in worse than expected, which, listen, if you're over there in Europe, you see what's going on, you're talking about austerity, all right, the business climate, you may not think it's the best ever. So this is the lowest it's been in almost a year in Germany, and it reflects, the general sentiment going on over there. Now, also today we have France, all right, they're coming out and they're releasing some austerity measures and talking about what they're going to do to try and rein in their budget deficit over there. So they're going to release the actual plans with some spending cuts, and they actually had some businesses offer a one-time wealth tax to sort of help close that gap. So interesting dynamic going on there. I mean, this isn't the same as higher taxes, but it's an offer from corporations to government, which we doubt we're going to see here in the U.S. So interesting dynamic with the euro. So we're still trading that range. Just want to show you dollar yen here. All right, dollar yen, a little bit of a move higher. All right, overnight in Japan, the finance minister announced that they were going to create a $100 billion facility to try and help, keep the yen weaker and stabilized. And it's sort of been disappointing to the market. And you can see here after the initial announcement that it sold off what you call it, the dollar versus yen. All right, yen's been strengthening on this because it's not an actual intervention. So I think the market was a little bit disappointed. People have been expecting them to intervene. All right, we're down at these low levels. We know that we hit 75.95 last time. So as you can see here, we're also on the daily pivots, and we're also trading in between this range, albeit a much tighter range here for dollar yen. So the ranges are looking like they're starting to contract a bit. Okay, as we head into Friday's meeting for the Jackson Hole meeting, and people are uncertain what's going to come out of this meeting because is Bernanke going to use this stage to announce some grand plan or fix or magic pill, or is he just going to say, no, we're on vacation and this is what we do every year to kind of get together and talk about ideas, and I don't really have anything more to say. So it's going to be interesting, but I think by and large the markets are going to be a little bit disappointed, but it's the kind of thing where I think the market's going to have to get used to disappointment because, having these free lunches handed out by Bernanke and the Fed, it just can't go on forever. So, that's kind of what we've seen here with the dollar yen. Now, just want to look at pound dollar. You see pound's actually selling off a little bit, okay? And if we go back, and I just want to look at this on the hourly chart. Yeah, let's look at this on the hourly chart. Okay, you can see we've been trading in a pretty tight range here for pound dollar, and one of the things going on is that tomorrow we've got the GDP, or I'm sorry, on Friday we have the GDP report coming out in the UK. So that's going to be interesting to see how GDP growth is going, because the Bank of England has really been focused on trying to maintain the growth in spite of the inflation that they're having. So they're willing to deal with the inflation as long as they keep the growth going. So we're going to have to keep an eye on what's going on with the pound. But you can see that the pound's sort of been trading near the highs of its range as of late. And if we pop back a little bit to the daily chart, okay, you can see that we've been moving up steadily higher off of the lows that we saw back in July. All right, so that's kind of what's been happening today. Now, it's going to be interesting here to see what happens in the U.S. We have durable goods orders out later this morning, and the reading is positive. Last month it came in negative. They're expecting 2.3% move higher on this, so a little bit of growth there. So we'll see. I mean, it's the kind of thing where, I think nowadays these, trying to peg these numbers is so much harder, because, these ranges are all over the place. Nobody knows what's going on. There's a lot of uncertainty. So, we could see these numbers, off the board. We also have home price indexes due out, and they're expecting just a slight gain of 0.1%. Now, yesterday, new home sales here in the U.S., they came in a little bit lower than expected, but it wasn't a horrible number, all things considered. So that's really what we've been looking at today. We can just see Aussie. Okay, Aussie's sort of been selling off here. This is a daily chart. Let's back it out to the 30-minute chart. And let me see if I can get control of my mouse back here. And on the 30-minute chart, you can see so everything's just sort of in these tight ranges. All right, and that's okay, because usually we when you have a big expansion of range like we did over the last 2 weeks with all the volatility, you need these ranges to narrow. But the question is Friday going to be enough to cause a big breakout of this range, whether be it to the upside or downside? And right now I'm not certain, because I think people are expecting a lot out of Bernanke, and this could end up being much ado about nothing. So that's really what we're looking at. Also, just wanted to mention here, to go back to Japan, is that they were downgraded by Moody's on their credit rating. So not a big deal over in Japan, because most of their debt is domestically held. But that was just something I just wanted to mention, because we talked about the credit downgrade here in the U.S. and everybody said, "Oh, how can you do that?" Well, same sort of thing happening in Japan, and it happens to other countries as well. So I think things tend to get overblown here in the U.S. and there's too many people speaking and too many opinions out there about what's happening. People should just really zip it and get back to work here. So lastly, taking a look at Euro Swiss, not much happening. So we're sort of in the tight range here. We'll see if anything breaks out. I'll be interested to see if U.S. futures can turn itself around, though, today. We are bounced off the lows a little bit here, and I'm a little bit surprised that we're not following Europe a little bit more with this, but we'll have to see what's happening. We had a nice day yesterday for the Dow, biggest one-day gain in I think the last week or two. So we'll have to see, but that's what I'm looking at for today, folks. So good trading to all.